Well, good evening, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Political Command Center in Mombasa, Kenya, the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa. Wherever you are in the world, thank you very much. This is Matsanga Africa Perspective. It is the show that talks about Africa. Today's show is very clear, and we shall be going through quite a lot of other things that are needed for Africa. First of all, I want to thank those who have been watching us the whole day when we are broadcasting the ICC cases of Kenya. It is very important that Africa still ranks one of the few countries in continents, among the continents that everybody has interest in. So today, are we the same people? Are we still going to Europe? Shouldn't Europe come to us most of the time? Do we need to go across to Europe? Those are the questions that I will seek to answer today with my panel in-house and others who will join. If you want to join this conversation by, first of all, engaging us on telephone +254 795 638 145. It will come to us and we shall put you live and you talk to us, tell us what you think. Should African presidents be going to Europe to seek whatever they want, money for development, whatever, or should Europe be coming to us? Viewers, those are the questions, the elephant in the house. Today, when I watched this show, I watched Macron welcoming heads of state, just pocketing. As an African elder who grew up in a Christian family where we are told to be very respectful, you don't invite guests to your house, then you pocket as if you don't like them to come to there or you underrate them. This is what has killed Africa. And I don't know why Africa doesn't learn. Today, very few heads of state will ask why Africa is dismembered, why most French-speaking countries have a problem. I'm one of the few people who has queried why the French-speaking countries have a problem and there are conflicts. We have conflicts in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo. We have conflicts, military coups in all French-speaking countries, coming up in Mali, in Guinea-Bissau, in Burkina Faso, and so many other states. We have a coup where people killed the president in Chad. What is the problem? Does Africa manufacture these problems, or the problems are manufactured by external forces? Thank you very much, viewers. That is my observation, opening remarks. But before we go, before I introduce my panel, we would like to look at quite a number of things. But let's look at this video. Let's listen to what this gentleman said. Let's see whether actually in actual sense, if we had done like what this gentleman is saying, would we be going for more and more? And someone is greeting you, pocketing, undermining our leaders whom we respect so much, whom we voted for. Millions and millions of voters stand up to give Africa respect, African leaders respect. And the gentleman is greeting us as if we are not welcome in Europe. Let's watch. If the video is ready, then I come back to take on the topic. Thank you.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief we choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame. What a travesty. Calls for us to think and think deep. The stage we are in as a country is not a stage where you become an onlooker. You have become an onlooker for too long. You must get ready to put your hands to the plow and be part of the process. It's not just about PVC, carry PVC. You must be in the kitchen where it is being determined. You must be there where the decisions are being made. We are there in our numbers, they cannot outnumber us. But you leave it aloof. Oh, no, it's too dirty. It's a dirty game. And then the dirty guy is getting to the game of play. And you are there not showing up. And when they begin to make the decisions, you will know whether it's a dirty game or not. The result is always dirty on yours. Dirty on your health. Dirty on your business. Dirty on your success and your career. I hope that is stirring up something in you.
Thank you very much, viewers. You have heard, most of us in Africa are faced with the problem of corruption. Corruption has become the centerpiece of African difficulties. The difficulties of Africa are traced back to corruption. We would not be going to the European Union to beg money. We would be making our own money, our own events. We should be paying for our own elections. When will Africa pay for its elections? Most of the countries across Africa, most of them ask for money for elections. And when they are asked for their returns, that's why European Union comes to put up sanctions on us, because we have asked for their money. I am one of the few Africans who has a thought, who thinks Africa should set up a team or a kitty that will look after the money for elections. You realize that on the continent of Africa, most of the problems come from elections. Because one, people first of all struggle to eat the money of elections before even the ballot papers are picked, are printed. People struggle to find why I should be the best. We kill what we have done. I'm speaking from a political science angle as a student of the highest political science iota on earth. I've studied political science, the theories of Karl Marx, Adam Smith, name them. I look at comparative politics. Why is Europe stable? What happened to Europe? People are very serious on certain things. Why is Singapore? People make Singapore an example. In the 60s, Singapore and Uganda were on the equivalent. What has happened to this country? Today, countries in Africa, Singapore overtook the entire world. Today, we get money loans from Singapore. Singapore loans people in the Commonwealth quite a lot of, if you go to Singapore, it's a port, it's an island. You would not believe that this was the Singapore. But the concept of how Singapore made itself came from our university in Makerere University and the first government in Uganda that they had that concept. If you look at China today, China gives us money, lends us money in millions and millions, but China has no MPs. If you find one Chinese MP, bring him, I will give you another $1 million. China has no MP. There is no member of parliament of China. How many MPs do we have in African continent? Each country has over 500 MPs. 500 MPs whom you pay. You pay the same small tax bracket which you have collected, but you have MPs. Is Africa seeing this? Does Africa see this? Does Africa stand by? Are we seeing them where we are heading? Do we have a problem with this continent? When you look around and see the type of life that is taking shape in Africa, some of the things that could be done in Africa could be done if we killed the cancer of corruption. Corruption is the centerpiece of a military coups. Every military person standing up, picking a gun from the barracks, accuses the civilian democratically elected government of having been corrupt. There is no military coup that has taken place in Africa where the word corruption has never been mentioned. The suspension of the constitution, constitutionalism. We have got a habit of extending constitutions, and Africa is again coming up on a sharp end, and we have sanctions coming on our side. There is a question of human rights, which everybody knows becomes the centerpiece of discussion which is used. This is where Europe must balance between, does Africa need elections? Do we need elections? This morning I was talking to people 80 days ago. I was talking to my Tanzanian friends when I arrived there. I told them, does Africa need elections? Does Tanzania need elections? I am very happy and glad to report, to tell you that maybe somebody heard what I was talking to these friends of mine from Tanzania, and then told Mama Samia Suluhu that make peace with your opposition leaders. Madam, thank you very much for doing so. I just want to thank Major General Muzuguri, the children, friends of mine, all of you who are grandsons. Thank you very much. I've kept that touch with you in Tanzania. And very much that is the way to go in Africa. Africa needs to push its own agenda. An agenda that is pushed by external forces. When you look on the continent of Africa, where is Europe going to be if we ask the questions and the bold questions? If we ask Mr. Macron, what are French troops doing in Libya? He won't answer. That's why he's greeting the African heads of state with one hand in his pocket. He doesn't care. These are our presidents. These are presidents who lead people. Millions and millions of people vote for them. I wouldn't like to see a president of my country. I don't know whether President Museveni also, or he might. I have not seen the videos of my president being greeted with one man putting his hand in the pocket as if he did not come. We are not beggars. We are not. European Union should not make us look like beggars. We have the capacity, the will, the determination. If we put out corruption, if we eliminated disunity, if we reorganized ourselves, integrated into a better format of East African Community, for example, SADC, for example, ECOWAS, for example, and we formed a unit called African Integrated Continent, we can beat Europe in 10 years. But are we integrated? That's the tragedy of Africa. Joining me on this show this evening, and if you want to join us, the numbers for entry on this show are clear, the numbers. If you want to join us by Zoom, you can Zoom us on 399-535-8320. Then it will ask you for the meeting code. The meeting code is 503670. You will find me there live, and my technical team in Nairobi, Kenya, will connect you to me, to us, to the studio, and we talk. If you want to join us by telephone and you want to make a contribution, either by telephone, either by supporting what we are doing, or either you want to support what we are talking, or you have a supplementary, additional, you have questions, you disagree with what some of the things we have said, call us on +254 795 638 145 Nairobi, Kenya. It can come straight to where we are. My production team will pick it up and send it to where I am. So this evening, we are joined by none other than my in-house investigative journalist, Wesonga Daniel Sean Colombo. Have you discovered something very strange about this European Union?
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David, and good evening to our viewers who are watching us from Kenya, East Africa, across Africa, and of course the rest of the world. And I absolutely agree with you that the European Union has never changed its court. Whatever it stood for in the past years, even during the pre-colonial period, is whatever what is still standing for today. It has never been about Africa. Rather, it has been about the Western interest in Africa. And whenever they sit down to plan about their future, whenever they have those summits in the EU, they actually sit to actually plan on how to plunder and be able to squander resources from Africa. Before the colonial period, I remember when they had they sat in Berlin, the top of the agenda, their top of the agenda was to actually on how to partition and share up Africa as if it were their personal property. So therefore, these are people who have never been driven by a heart to assist the other continents. These are people who have always been driven by their own search for treasure, their own search for minerals, their own search for land to be able to farm and produce commodities that can always and produce that can always be taken back to Europe to enrich their own cities and towns. Europe has always been developed by the plunder that happened in Africa. Today, France has the world's largest gold reserve, whereas it does not have the gold deposits. Today, the oil that we have in Nigeria has been powering the economy of the Western powers. Today, the cobalt that we have in Congo is whatever the America and other Western powers are using to produce mobile phones, laptops, and all that. Africa has always been the engine through which Europe and the Western powers have always grown. And therefore, their relationship with us has always been exploitative. When you read, there's a book called The State of Africa, which says that actually the entire Western civilization was as a result of the African exploitation, because one, they were able to export and be able to capture Africans through slavery, who provided free labor, which has never been paid for years and years after slavery ended. Also, apart from the labor that they were taking from Africa for free, they actually were also extracting resources from Africa's ground, land resources, mining, and doing all those kind of illegal things. And for whichever thing that they could not grow in Europe, they actually came and grabbed our lands in Africa, and they were able to farm and ship it back to Europe. So therefore, you realize that the entire much hyped Western civilization wouldn't have happened if Africa could not be there, because it is after the discovery of Africa that Europe actually moved from the primitive medieval kind of life to now the modern civilization. They started having electricity. They had enough raw materials for their industries. They started now, growing and being modern in their way, in the way they used to live. Their modes of transportation actually started to revolutionize under industrialization. So Africa was the center of industrialization in Europe. It is a center of, even still now, the center of industrialization and the civilization in Europe, because I believe we pump more resources back to Europe for that particular purpose. And now when you look at the development of major cities in Europe, most of them were built by the slaves, and we still even have some buildings which are still standing up today. That is just a show of how Africa has over and over again been exploited by these white supremacists of the European Union, so to say. And therefore, Dr. Matsanga, whenever I hear the meeting, I don't ever take it seriously, and perhaps maybe whatever comes to my thought is that it's just another summit, another plan to see how best they can be able to suppress African, the Pan-Africanism, and be able to explore and exploit whatever little that is left with us here in Africa. And therefore, even as the AU-EU summit happens, I don't have any much optimism about the outcomes that might come from that particular conference, because one, the AU itself has been quite moribund. AU has not been assisting the African people. So even when they're going to sit on the table with their EU counterparts, I believe it is going to be a lopsided kind of conversation where we have the masters and the puppets seated on the other side of the table, where they're taking orders from the EU and the AU pledges whatever they're going to give to the EU in terms of resources, in terms of favorable trade deals, and all that good things. It is only China and the Middle East which has been able to come out of this cocoon, where the AU has been exploiting other continents without actually giving them a fair deal in terms of even trade and industry and other bilateral talks. But Africa, because we have a body called AU, which is actually funded by France and other foreign powers, we do not have even a stand of our own. These people who are at the helm of the AU, like Musa Muhammad Faki, are people who are put there by the French hegemony. These are stooges of the French government, and therefore they have no voice. Because if they speak today, tomorrow the French will be withdrawing the stipends and the money that they extend to them. So it is so much useless to maybe expect that anything is going to come out of that particular summit, because EU has been plundering Africa for the longest time possible, and AU has been silent about it. So to me, I believe they're not going to be having discussions there. Rather, EU is going to be talking to AU. There is no two-way conversation there. You cannot say that perhaps it is going to be a conversation. Rather, it is going to be the EU talking to AU and telling them whatever they want, and AU now saying whether they can help and doing all that. You know, just still paying homage to the former colonial masters and being subjected to the hegemony of the Western supreme power. So I believe, Dr. Matsanga, in this particular summit, I don't think much should be expected from Africa. And if I were maybe perhaps in a position where I could influence the opinion of the AU, I will tell them actually to boycott such a summit until we are able to engage the European Union on equal measures. They stop perceiving us as their former colonies. They stop perceiving us as a lesser people, where the only thing they can help us is aid and maybe donations in that particular regard. We need fair trade and commerce relations. We need even working partnerships where we can be able to develop our own industries and be able to add value to our resources without exporting raw resources to Europe, whereby all the interest and all the capital and the returns actually are accrued to Europe rather than being accrued here to Africa, whereas we are the custodians of these resources. So I believe sometimes it's good to be proud, even if you do not have much in your pocket, because if you become vulnerable, if you become vulnerable to being subjected to such kind of terror by the European Union, you realize that they will always dictate the terms for you, and you have no other than to follow. They say beggars have no choice, and that is what Africa has become through the African Union. So therefore, Dr. Matsanga, it is high time we stand up. It is high time we wake up and realize that Africa also, just like China and the Middle Eastern countries, need to face the European Union and tell them now that now enough is enough. We do not want your aid. We do not want your donations. We just need fair and equal trade bilateral laws and laws that will actually allow us to be able to do business with you, get our profit. We give you whatever we are selling to you without any other party exploiting the other. That is all we need, Dr. Matsanga. I submit.
Thank you very much. As we prepare, today I'm going to prepare several. Stephen must be prepared to take this video. Let's look at that, some of the videos. You have raised quite a number of things. The greetings, what was brought to my attention is the manner in which the French president is greeting African heads of state. That has reduced the debate. Whatever outcome will come out of the debate is already reduced, is already subjected to us querying such a behavior. First of all, I would like to say there is always a difficulty of so many things coming out of such conferences. A communique will come out, but have we ever put things in practice anyway? Do we put anything in practice anyway? One of the subjects of today is insecurity on the continent. A few days ago, President Museveni and other heads of state and the president of Senegal opened what we call the Global Africa Security. Global African Security. It is linked to how to find solutions. How can we find trigger mechanisms? Do we have trigger warning systems of what is going to happen to our continent? Have we introduced rapid deployment forces to be deployed rapidly? How many of these organizations, apart from what I've seen, SADC, which is very, very organized in terms of response, and ECOWAS, we have the entire Sahel region of Africa in chaos. We have it in chaos. We don't know how many of these insurgents are available in those regions. So are we part and parcel of our own conflicts? Do we create conflicts ourselves? Are these conflicts coming for us? How many Africans up to today are willing to stand up and tell the French to stop all what they are doing? How many? I see no African head of state. I see no African head of state standing up and telling the French that we are not happy with what you are doing in Libya, for example, that you are not happy with what we are doing, for example, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that we are not happy with what you are doing in Central African Republic. We are not happy what you are doing in Mali. The government of Mali, from one government to the other, they have been fighting insurgents. We have plenty of French troops stationed in those countries. What do they really do? What is their importance in those areas? Believe me or not, there is a problem. And whether Africa likes it or not, let's listen to this gentleman. Can you play the video of that gentleman? Leave the one with the lady first, but let's play the one of the gentleman.
African leaders, where you meet there at summits, whatever you call them, what do you discuss to improve the economy of Africa? Not your country, no, Africa as a whole. What impact do you have where you go to these meetings? Me, sometimes I wonder, you people meet almost every year, you are all over the gathering. If it wasn't for Corona to stop you from wasting people's money, you would have been out by this time. Eh? If you are not putting your country in debt, it's corruption. What is wrong with African leaders? Eh? Apart from them gaining weight and having tummies, the rest is history. They can't say what they have done for the people. They've got nothing to show for, believe me you. It's only a few countries, Paul Kagame there, improving his economy. Nana Akufo-Addo, improving the economy. Danny Foyle down there in Seychelles, improving the economy. What has your leader done that they can show for and say, no, me, I did this and improved people's lives? If you have any dream of any African politician, you will die of hunger in that dream. Wake up. I'm telling you, I mean, for who? African politician in your dream. No. Pray hard that you don't have such a dream. It's a hunger. It's actually a sign of poverty, dreaming of an African leader. Even when you just dream of him passing, please pray. It's hard. Africa, when Jehovah comes, we will just be put aside and be told, no, I think you guys were in hell already. You saved your time here. Just go to the garden of heaven. You saved your time here. You were in hell already. Trust me. Let me tell you something. Stop complaining about why minerals are not being used to its maximum in Africa. We are the richest African continent on the planet with minerals. All this nonsense, oil, we have everything. Put someone in charge that knows how to handle people. I'm telling you. I mean, for who? Take Julius Malema. Let people who are coming from outside to come and buy these minerals. Let them negotiate with Julius Malema. Trust me, you know what I'm talking about. You think it's going to be easy to buy minerals with Julius Malema in charge of all the minerals in Africa to take them out? Then you get someone like Paul Kagame. Let him be the last person to sign minerals out. You will see this Africa to improve. Believe me, you. Don't think of getting any other leaders from any other country who will be doomed. Trust me, because you know your leaders are a laughing stock. They are corrupt people. They are hungry people. Their stomachs are ever hungry. Water in the head.
I think the gentleman forgot that there is another country called Kenya, which has done very well in terms of tried to make sure that there is stability in terms of governance, in terms of trying to do infrastructure for the people. President Uhuru Kenyatta comes around those leaders that you have mentioned. But the point that he raises is, when you see an African leader, that's why I was talking about very seriously, who is able to maintain discipline on the continent of Africa. Can EU, AU resolve insecurity in Africa? Across the continent of Africa, from north to south, south to north, west to east, there are still complaints of conflicts. There are still conflicts ranging. In Somalia, we have a conflict. In Central African Republic, we have a conflict. In Ethiopia, we have a conflict. In Mozambique, we still have a conflict and pockets of insurgency. In most of the places that I have mentioned, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, for example, I saw the Nigerian head of state there, General Buhari. What is Buhari going to get from this summit? What will Buhari take and go and tell the people of Nigeria that have come back with this summit when half of the country is not functioning? When I put up a very serious message about Nigeria, yesterday I felt overwhelmed. My television was overwhelmed with almost 100,000 people watching. A country like Nigeria is autopilot. It's autopilot. It's autopilot. It's on autopilot. It doesn't have a flight. We can see the president there, but there are people kidnapping people. ISIS is killing people in some parts of Nigeria, northern part. Fulani are killing Biafrans. Biafrans are crying for help. The state needs rearrangement. But there's no African leader who can raise this. The companies that have taken minerals from Africa, like a Total Oil, Shell, BP, and others, they continue quietly. When a country like Nigeria is falling apart, the rate of poverty in Nigeria, for example, worries me. It worries any strange man like me. I'm more worried. Very, very scared about poverty. When they show you the clips, the videos coming from Nigeria where people sleep on water, you have to enter your door through a canoe. You must come from water and jump into a house. While you are there, there is water falling down. I saw some houses in Nigeria. Is this the Africa that we want? Let's see the second video from the gentleman who says, we have a lot of minerals, but we give them out at peanuts. Video.
Hello. Yes, Thunder. What are you doing, man? You're wasting time. We need you in Africa to fire some of our leaders. Yes, I mean, how can Zambia have one of the largest copper reserves in the world, but 60% of its population still live under poverty and unemployed? You're surprised? I'm surprised too. Listen, copper is used in power generation, building construction, and car manufacturing. But none of these things happens in Zambia. They only extract the copper and take it to other countries.
Everything around Butundo belonged to the Swiss mining company, Multi Glencore.
And leave Zambians in poverty and pollution.
Children suffer the most from this severe environmental pollution.
The boy couldn't breathe and had pain in his chest, and he started bleeding from his nose.
And that is why we need you now to come and fire our leaders. Thunder, please come and fire some of our African leaders. Yes, we don't have time, man. They are destroying the continent. Please come quickly, please. Nigeria. Africa's largest crude oil producer and the most populous nation with the people of African descent in the whole world does not refine its own oil. Nigeria exports crude oil and imports refined petrol. Listen, this means that Nigeria's crude oil is actively creating employment in other countries, while millions of Nigerians are unemployed and living in poverty. It was Nelson Mandela who said that until Nigeria gets its act right, the African continent will continue to suffer. Okay, are you angry because of Nigeria's crude oil? Let me blow your mind. I know many of you like chocolate, but do you know that there are chances that the chocolate you had today came from the cocoa bean in West Africa? Because 70% of the world's cocoa bean comes from the African countries of Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. But surprisingly, none of these countries is the top producer of chocolate. But every day we spend billions of dollars to import chocolate. It's the same thing. The way Nigeria's crude oil is being exported is the way we export our cocoa to import refined goods. As these resources keep going out to power other economies, this is how unemployment and poverty keeps growing.
The origin of this cashew is Aniga land. Now they are taking it to different countries now. We have no machine here, we have no, the federal government is not assisting us and the state governments. If we have the machine, all these things could have not gone out. They are taking our resources to the outsiders. So we are losing, we are not making, and it's them that are making.
I can go on giving you other examples and talk about other problems, but this video will be too long. So let's talk about the solutions. You see, I'm a big advocate for the people of African descent all over the world to come back to Africa to invest their resources, their expertise, their knowledge and experiences in different sectors of the African economy. But to be honest, if we do not get leadership right, no matter their investments, our growth will be slow and insignificant. And time is a luxury we cannot afford. So the fastest way for us to grow is to fix leadership. And leadership cannot be fixed if we as individuals do not fix our minds. Let me explain. This man you see was a two-term governor of a state in Nigeria. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison for diverting over 8 billion naira of the state funds into a private account. Barely 6 months after his conviction, he managed to get out of jail. Now, that sounds bad, but what is worse is this. When he got out of jail, he was welcomed like a hero. This man pleaded guilty for stealing over $250 million when he was the state governor. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison and he served only 4 years. When he returned, he was also welcomed like a hero. This man right here is the current serving governor of a state. He was caught on camera taking $5 million bribe from a contractor. Even with this evidence, the people still supported him and made him a two-term governor. Now you can see that it's impossible to get quality leadership if we don't build a society of quality individuals. The king is nothing without the kingmaker. And in this case, we are the kingmakers. We the people give them the power they possess. Until we build our minds to look beyond religious and tribal sentiments, we will continue to have leaders who will steal public funds and open the gates to foreigners to take our resources while we continue to struggle. Our biggest problem is ignorance, so that is why you have to share this video, because the more enlightened Africans are, the better our chances of building a better Africa.
Thank you very much, viewers. You have seen those two videos. One video of a gentleman crying about Africa, the Africa that we want. The Africa where thieves are welcomed, celebrated. The Africa where people have no remorse when they have made a mistake. The Africa where when you condemn a thief, they turn around and finish you. The Africa where conflicts have become the norm of the day. In this meeting between the heads of state of African Union and the people of Europe and the presidents of Europe in Brussels, shall we get a solution to our problems? Our problems solved from Europe? Or does Europe manufacture problems for us and dump them in a proxy way? A few years ago, I researched on a conflict in East Africa. I managed to find out that East Africa, there was a proxy war. A proxy war in East Africa. A proxy war where France was using certain governments in East Africa to create havoc in some parts of East African states. It did not take long before a military coup took place, attempted coup took place in Burundi. The late Nkurunziza was in Dar es Salaam, but I shouted loud. I said, there's a proxy war in Africa, in East Africa. Again, I shouted loud and I said, there are possibilities of the entire sub-Saharan Africa coming under the shadows of conflicts. As we sit here, as the heads of state sitting in Brussels, Sahel region, Libya, Ethiopia, Somalia, Mozambique, Democratic Republic of Congo, the guns are firing. Amazonia, in Cameroon, the guns are firing. In Nigeria, the guns kidnap, torture, firemen, rape, murder, things are taking place. Is Africa, AU, ready to resolve the conflict with EU such that insecurity does not come to this African continent? Matsanga, I give you your last word. Do you think we leave this question so that we shall continue, come back to summarize tomorrow when we have seen the communique? To me, my position is they might not be able to tell us anything tangible in 2 days. France is not going to come up and say, okay, I've given you the permit now. We are out of your countries. Sell your diamonds the way you want. Sell your gold, uranium the way you want. We are still touched. The only country in Africa that today that gives money to unemployed youth is Algeria, which is the model that former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga wants to bring to this country, which will work because Algeria is 49 million people. And if you are not employed, you get $100 per month. Surely with the standard of living in Algeria, $100 is not bad, you will survive. You can be able to get food, you can time. Will there be another African country that can give an employment to the youth? Matsanga, your parting shots.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. And of course, in my final submission, I would really like to take those at the helm of the AU back to 60 years or maybe 65 years back in history when the first African country got their independence. And this is in regards to on how Africa got its independence. We never got our independence, our political independence, through going to negotiate with the white people or the Western powers in Europe. We never got our independence by taking a bunch of individuals to go and meet the European Union. We got our independence by talking to our people, understanding the kind of problems they were, the problems ranging from lands being taken forcefully from them, being forced into labor, and being displaced and being denied and discriminated upon in the positions of government and service delivery. We were able to mobilize our people, and through our own struggle in our own land, we were able to eject the white man. But before we did that, we had a few individuals who would go to Europe, and when they come back, the European powers would impose them as maybe senior chiefs and give them all the powers over their fellow Africans. These are the people who are called the collaborators, and they never helped the African countries gain their independence until the people who went to the bush and be able to and were able to actually start an insurgency against the Western powers. These were the individuals who are able to bring about a revolution that were able to give independence to all 53 African countries except Ethiopia and Liberia, of course, which were not colonized. But the essence of my my symbolism is that the problems that are bedeviling Africa can only be solved if we sit down as African people, be able to highlight whatever issues we are facing. And then we say, if you are going to indulge or maybe engage the EU on the table, let it be on a table of maybe understanding that these are the problems that we have as the African people. And therefore, if the EU is not willing to give us our fair share of these maybe solution to these problems, then we are not going to engage them. Dr. Matsanga, I really want to ask the African people, why hasn't the EU ever come to Africa in such a summit, so that they sit in Africa and we benchmark and we talk on our terms as well. We tell the EU, this is what we want you people to do. We want you people to stop meddling in our political affairs. We want the French to take their troops out of West Africa. We don't want America to be spying illegally on most African countries and doing all these kinds of illegalities while we are here. Why hasn't the African Union maybe issued such a summit where the EU comes and Africa tells the EU whatever we want to be done on our continent and what should not be done on this particular continent? We've never had a candid conversation, even including on how our minerals should be extracted and how they should be processed and at what price are we going to be exporting these minerals to the Western world. And that has actually opened a loophole where major Western powers come into Africa, they lay down ground for conflict, and while this conflict is brewing, they actually get an opportunity to smuggle out these resources. It has happened in Congo, it has happened in Mali, it has happened in Central Africa Republic, where today we do not still have peace and people are still fighting one another, whereas Western powers, scrupulous Western powers and dealers are stealing these minerals from Africa. AU should wake up to the call. Africans should actually also smell the coffee and raise up to the occasion and tell the AU, we will not accept you to represent us if you are not going to engage the European Union on an equal basis. Dr. Matsanga, it is just akin to someone sending maybe in a bullfighting competition. You are sending your bull there to fight, but your bull already goes there as a victim, you know. It cannot even be able to marshal up enough strength to fight the other side of the competition. So if it goes there with a losing mentality, with being a lesser competitor than the other, then it means whichever the other side will give, fight will bring up, then it will be the fight to decide the particular competition. So we have to put up we have to put up a status where Africa can also be able to summon the EU and tell them, let us meet in Addis Ababa. We also want to tell you this and that regarding our continent. And if you are not going to treat us with respect and in regards to these conditions, then we are going to sever our relations with you. We cannot be still kneeling down and bowing to the EU when today China is actually economically overtaking the US. We can as well do business with China and have very good working bilateral relations with them. Dr. Matsanga, if I take you back, Africa has never experienced progress in terms of infrastructure, in terms of even trade, until they started partnering with China. If you come to Kenya today, most roads that are quite well done in Kenya, like Thika Superhighway, today we have the expressway, expansion of the port and the airports. It has all come when we decided to look east and start working with China. Chinese are extending their loans into Africa and they're building roads in jungles, places where we never anticipated that we're going to have paved roads passing by. And China is doing so because China has also been a victim of the Western dominance and Western hegemony, where they keep on suppressing down other continents, whereas Europe thrives on the plunder and resources that emanate from those continents. And therefore, there's a need for us to be able to do a diagnosis and a postmortem of the relationship that we've been having with the European Union and the Western powers pre-independence and post-independence. And let us see whether it has been working for us or against us. But the answer is simple, Dr. Matsanga. It has not been working for us. It has been been all along a lopsided working relations where one side has been reaping big from the other without extending the same kind of generosity to another. And one has been acting as a former master or a master, whereas the other has been acting as a servant. And therefore, that is the reason why the AU can never balance the EU on a sitting table. They will always be outboxed and outnumbered. And the worst still, they are going to have this particular summit in the land of the white man, in the Western world, where they have no say or no kind of opinion on whatever the likes of Macron are going to bring on the table. They're actually going to be cajoled, and there's various ways they can do that. Just greeting someone with a lot of contempt already disorients them. They cannot be able to bargain, whereas their ego has been multiplied by square zero, So
okay.
we need Africa to wake up and raise to the occasion and let the EU know that we are equal partners, and whatever the EU can do, Africa can do with other partners. I submit, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much. Daniel, you have made your points very clear. We have done that very effectively. It's up to African heads of state. Shall we talk about the EU, AU ways of resolving insecurity on the continent of Africa? Is Africa heading there? Are we heading there? Is there any leader who will tell them that, look, in Libya we have a problem because of you? Look, we are having coups coming back because of you. Those leaders are gone. The last one went down, Kaunda. The other one was Mugabe, whom I buried. Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, they are all gone. The continent of Africa really suffers from people who are able to stand and say enough is enough. We have had enough, and therefore we shall not take this. Whatever it is here, it has to end here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our show, Matsanga Africa Perspective. We have looked at certain aspects. We shall come back when the summit is over, maybe on Sunday, and see the communique that will come out. But believe me or not, the communique will not move. The 150 billion euros that they say they will give to Africa for various development programs. As long as we have corruption, this money ends in the pockets of the same individuals. Some of them have already planned what they want to use it for. By the time the money arrives, it is swallowed. That's the ordinary person on the continent see the results of such meetings. I believe yes and no. Thank you very much, viewers. This station is for Africa with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.